Rocking with pettyblog.com.
It's your boy Silk D-O-double-G, and you are now watching the Petty Blog.
I can't be on the Petty Blog.
Petty and T.
Oh, Petty.
So they already know that I'm dropping the T. So basically, Cassie's songwriter and longtime friend, Tiffany Redd, who has spoken out against Diddy after seeing what he did to Cassie many months ago.
I can't watch a video of my friend getting kicked and not talk about this.
Is now speaking out again. And let me tell you, she also says that she was a Diddy victim as he allegedly drugged her, but now she's speaking out because of the fact that there are 120 new people who have filed lawsuits under one attorney, which some people now think has to be fake because it's like all them people. So she's speaking her piece on it, especially after seeing what the Breakfast Club had to say about it. I believe it was like, how can it be 60 and 60? 60 women and 60 men exactly? That don't seem right. Something to that effect. I will insert the clip here.
You mean to tell me a lawyer found 120 people, exactly 60 men and 60 women?
Tiffany is not going for it, as those comments do not sit well with her because she knows how lawsuits go and she has experience with both Diddy and lawsuits. Without further ado, here it goes.
Hi. So I just wanted to pop on here real quick and say something. So I just saw this clip of Charlamagne and DJ Envy on Breakfast Club talking about the latest accusation of there being 120 people suing or being about to sue Puff for whatever it is that they're going to sue for, right? And the narrative that I'm just so fucking sick of hearing, so this is why I'm popping on here and just saying something about it. The narrative that I'm really sick of hearing is, you know, like Charlamagne said something like, you know, how do you know, like, how you know all of these people, like, how do you know who's lying and who's not? You vet them. That's how you know who's lying. They said that over 3,000 people reached out to this law firm. They only took 120 of the cases. When you sue somebody, you have to be able to prove it. A lawyer is not going to just take your case because you said you fell down some stairs. You have to be able to prove that you fell down some stairs. You have to have medical records. You have to have police reports. You have to have all kind of stuff. And out of that 120 people that they're talking about who are going to sue, 50 of them went to the police or the hospital. So there's actual documentation and, you know, it's clearly like faulty investigation that's already happened. So yeah, you set up a line like they did, and you allow people to pour in and you vet the stories. If as a lawyer, right? I'm not a lawyer, but I'm saying if you're a lawyer, you can't just file some frivolous lawsuit and nothing happen. You can be disbarred. You think people went to law school for all these goddamn years to file some frivolous lawsuit against Puff and lose their whole entire career to file a fucking lawsuit? Are y'all serious? What? That doesn't even make any sense. Not only can you be disbarred, you can be sanctioned. So that means that you and your client would have to pay that person's lawyer fees and all kind of stuff. You could be sued for defamation of character. If you put out false claims, all kind of stuff can happen. That hasn't happened. Where's the defamation lawsuit? It doesn't exist because ain't nobody defaming that man. People are coming to these lawyers with receipts, with real claims, with witnesses, with, like I said, police records, with hospital, you know. So that's how you can get Charlamagne for your ignorant ass talking about, how did you get 60 cheeks? It's not funny. That's not a joke. 60 cheeks. Bro, grow the fuck up. We talking about sexual assault. We talking about sex trafficking, racketeering, and all kind of shit. And you gonna get on that platform and minimize these people's pain. These people, you gonna minimize their courage for coming forward. You gonna minimize everything that they going through because you don't believe it, because you aren't educated on how to file a civil lawsuit. in the process, why would you think that after there is a bit of attention on this and there's more lawyers that are willing to take it on, that there wouldn't be people that start to pursue justice? Instead of looking at these numbers and being like, oh, like I see the comments of like, you know, well, I'm just going to file a lawsuit against Diddy. You can't unless you could prove something. Shut the fuck up. All y'all people in these comments talking about what you're not going to do shit. And if you haven't filed a lawsuit before, now I'm saying this having sued someone before. I've sued someone for an accident that I had. And I had to be able to prove it. I had to show my medical records, which I had. I had to show that I was in physical therapy for months, which I was. I had to be able to show that I was out of work for months because I couldn't walk. I had to be able to prove it. My lawyer wasn't going to just take on my case and sue some person for nothing. That's not how civil justice works. It's not. So like, all of y'all who... Are my comments off? My comments must be off, but whatever, it's fine. For the people who are saying that, are like pushing that narrative, it's ignorant. It's really ignorant. And just very untrue. It's untrue. If you listen to what the lawyer said, he said they're going to be filing in the next 30 days because they're still doing investigation. They hired a former detective for their team. You think that detective is not doing an investigation into all of these claims before they go after someone who can afford to fight back, who can afford to sue you if you wrong, who can afford to do all that? It doesn't make sense. So the people in the culture who set the narrative and set the tone, stop feeding these people bullshit. 3,000 people reached out. 120 cases were taken on. That is not a lot in comparison to how many came in. That means they have 120 people who can prove what they are saying, not just saying shit. It's giving, oh no, here's screenshots and text messages. Here's videos. Here's a picture of my black eye. Here's a testimony from my best friend who, that's how this shit works. So that's how you get to 120 cheeks, Charlamagne. It's your ignorant ass. That's all. Bye. I'm coming back on because I have 2 more sentences from my last live. Okay, so I was just reading the news, and TMZ just published an article that says more accusers coming forward talking to feds after arrest. I'm gonna read you what it says. It says, things keep sounding worse for Diddy because we've learned the feds are seeing an uptick in accusers coming forward with more allegations ever since he was thrown in jail. Sources familiar with the Diddy investigation tell TMZ more alleged victims and witnesses are stepping up because they feel less intimidated now that Diddy is behind bars. So, this one is for all you, why now? Because it's safer. Duh. There's power in numbers. Before it would have just been you. No one would have believed you. That's why now. On my previous post, I talked about that 120 people that are about to sue. Out of that 120 people, 50 of them went to the police and in the hospital. And nothing fucking happened. So why now? Because that's why. Because nothing fucking happened. That's why now. Because the feds just stepped in. Because other state, local police stations, whatever, weren't able to. No one's ever been able to figure it out, ever. So why now? Because now it is safer. Not completely safe, but safer. Why would you not? The fuck? It's so crazy how many people are so used to making decisions against their own interest. Y'all are so, not you, but the people in the back, so used to not knowing how to show up for you, not learning about the process of any of this shit. Why would you think that it wouldn't make people feel braver after seeing that man be denied bail twice? Of course there's going to be more accusers that are going to come forward now, who were probably petrified and are still petrified. Why now? What? Read the room. Are you looking around? Do we not see the same thing? Do we not see the same thing? Trying to fight somebody who is, like, if you've ever been in a fight, right? If you've ever been in a fist fight, and you're not some like martial arts trained, you just street fight, you've been in a fist fight. If you're 5'5" and you're fighting someone who's 6'5" and who is double your weight, you're gonna lose. And so what had to happen for people to take on somebody bigger? Multiple people had to jump on. That's why it's 120. That's why more people are starting to call the feds now, because they're feeling a little bit safer. They're seeing a bit more light at the end of the tunnel. They're seeing that they're not the only one, that it's not just them. Like I understand that the Me Too movement ain't everybody's cup of tea, right? But the foundation of what it is seeing yourself in another situation. Oh my God, me too. That happened to me too. Now look, I haven't spoken about, like, on video or in interviews like that, about my experience with smoking something laced over there. But I want to tell y'all this. Every single time a new story comes out and the person is describing how they felt, they're describing how it happened, they're describing what they saw, I could see myself in that shit, because I smoked something that was laced too. Me too. When you don't know that when you don't know that it wasn't just you, like, this shit is madness. All of the things that are happening right now are madness. And, like, you know, sometimes it takes seeing other people pursue something and try and be brave. Like, bravery and courage and truth telling is contagious. It is. When one person speaks, the next person speaks. And I'm just saying that, having gone through this. My story was trapped, or not trapped, but my story was behind Cassie's story. So I couldn't speak until she spoke. Or I could have spoke, but I didn't want to speak until she spoke. Right? She spoke, gave me the courage to speak. Then I'm sure there are people who saw me speak and were like, oh my God, well, that sounds similar. I remember that. Maybe you know how many people hit me and were like, oh my God, I remember emotional singing, bitch. I remember that story. The process of all of this is like really traumatic shit, right? Things that you put out of your mind. Most of this stuff that me personally, I endured is things that I never talked about again. It happened and I was just like, that was fucking weird. Trauma's fucking weird. I wish that I had shown up differently in those moments, like when I smoked the weed that was laced. Like, you know what else I want to say about that? Like, you know, for the naysayers that are just like, oh, they wanted it, or you shouldn't have been there, or whatever. Like, it's like, for me personally, like, I was at the studio working, but I've been to puff parties as well and had a blast and wasn't around any of that shit. And if you've ever been to a puff party, it's usually in a really big place. His house in Homely Hills was massive, so how could you fucking know what's going on in every room? I know I didn't. I didn't see all the things neither, you know, but like, I'm saying all this to say that, like, just because you're in these spaces does not mean that that's what you're pursuing. Like, I never wanted to do drugs. I smoke weed. I never wanted to do drugs. I have really bad panic attacks, so I was always afraid to do anything because my heart, I was like, no. That's why the moment that I felt it, I was like, what is this? And I started panicking. Because, what the fuck? Did I show up to Puff's house to work with Cass to smoke something laced? No. Why would I do that? The whole point of somebody putting something in your drink or in your joint or in your whatever is for it to be without you knowing. That's the point. So, you know, I say all this to say that I really hope that the internet, because the reality is the internet is a bunch of people. So I'm gonna have some hope for the internet. I am, because I've seen God do incredible things. So I believe in y'all. I believe that y'all can show up in this time with more compassion. I believe that y'all can have more empathy. I believe that y'all can show up and be more mature. There are a lot of people that have been impacted by this shit that are reading your horrible, tone-deaf, cruel, cold comments about some of the worst things that has ever happened to them in their entire fucking life. And if you've never been a part of some big high profile alleged sex trafficking, racketeering, whatever, then you don't know shit about this. So you should just, everything is not a fucking conspiracy. And then also, for all the people that are like, oh, they trying to take down a black man, but you know, it's Diageo because he wanted to. No. People are not trying to take down a black man. They trying to take down a monster. And you have to be able to separate the two. I understand being loyal to your race, but not to the detriment of our community. That's a black man harming black people. So what about everyone else? Ain't nobody going after him because he black. They're going after him because he's a fucking monster. Y'all seen him on that tape. That's who they're going after. So all of this, like, you know, Cap, I seen his lawyer say that shit. You know, they're trying to take down a powerful black man. Shut the fuck up. No, they're not. And all y'all in the comments are like, where's his energy for Dan Snyder? Where's his energy for Weinstein? Weinstein's in jail. And if you go on Hulu or wherever, there's plenty of fucking documentaries about it. There's a whole ass movie about it. It's called Bombshell. It's amazing. It's about Jodi Cantor, who was a journalist at the New York Times, who broke the fucking story and put her neck on the line to lock that motherfucker up. Jeffrey Epstein went to jail. Please, with the narrative, oh, they're just out to get us. No, they are out to get criminals. They're out to get monsters. This ain't because Puff is black. It's not. Read the lawsuits. Why to think that anybody would be lying about shit like this is the most, like, I read some of these lawsuits and I'm just like, wow, this is just so humiliating. Y'all think people want to humiliate themselves just cause? For a check? Are y'all serious? You think people want to humiliate themselves, put themselves in danger, and all this kind of stuff for no reason, for some money? I'm telling you, being in the middle of all of this shit, being in the middle of the circus and shit like that this shit is not something that I would wish on anybody. In real life, never. I would never wish it on anybody. And, you know, the abuser apologists, the fucking people who are like so married to capitalism and just don't care, they'll get their money however. Because the truth is like, there's a lot of people who are just like, well, if he was white, he wouldn't what? He wouldn't get held accountable for sex trafficking allegedly? What are you talking about? So are you saying that because he's black, and yes, we live in a racist society. We live we're governed by a system that is ruled by white supremacy. Yes, that's true. Why in the fuck would any of y'all be aspiring to their impunity? If he was a white man, he would be able to get away with murder. You don't think that's fucked up? Why would you want to be somebody that's able to get away with murder versus trying to hold the white person accountable and the black person accountable and whoever else that's a murderer? That's a human that's murdering humans. It's like there are some black people who just want to be a slaver too, who just want to be an oppressor too. To be a billionaire means that you've got to be oppressing somebody. It's sad. It's sad to see how many of y'all, as I think it was David Banner who said this, want to hold the whip. You don't want your freedom. You want to hold the whip. You want everybody to kiss your feet and bow down to you and for you to be the man. It's fucking scary. Y'all need to get it together. I have faith in y'all. I have hope. I believe in God. God is real. And so I am asking, dear internet, please show up better on this thing with compassion, because there are a lot of people that are hurting right now who are reading your really hurtful words. Bye.